I am going to demonstrate the stripping and cleaning of the 1858 Remington Nitro conversion by Anvil Conversions. Before we start, I have laid out all the tools that will be required to carry out this exercise. On the table before me, I have a gunsmithing screwdriver set. This is an absolute must to protect the screw heads of your revolver. I am showing you a good quality DIY screwdriver, albeit a rather large screwdriver, that can be purchased from any DIY store. On close examination, you can see how the blade tapers towards the part of the screwdriver that comes into contact with the screw. This is fine for normal wood screws, etc., but it's an absolute no-no for the use in your revolver. On a set of gunsmithing screw bits, the bit taper runs into a parallel towards the contact area with the screw. This ensures maximum purchase on the screw head whilst minimising potential damage to the screw head. This typical set can cost in the order of £15. This is a wise investment. I have a selection of bore brushes, cleaning rod, gun oil, good quality gun oil, kitchen roll, a 6mm drill and a 2mm Allen key and a toothbrush. I will in the course of this video demonstrate how each of these items is used. I will now put them to one side and draw upon them as required. This is an Anvil Conversions Nitro revolver. Prior to working on the revolver, it is essential to check and ensure that every chamber is empty. Similarly, open the gate and ensure that there are no live or spent primers located in the pockets. Only when you are satisfied that the gun is completely safe, proceed with its cleaning. The first thing you have to do to effectively clean the revolver is to remove the cylinder. To do this, you will require a small screwdriver capable of being slotted in the hammer slot that I'm indicating with the screwdriver. What you have to do is pull the ramming lever down. Ensure that immediately under the firing pin is an empty pocket. The reason for this is that we need to press the firing pin deep into the pressure plate. This can only be achieved if an empty pocket is in line with the firing pin. If you pull the rammer down to locate to slide into the lowermost chamber, by definition the location beneath the firing pin will be vacant. Having identified this is the case, move the rammer rod forward so that it won't interfere with the withdrawal of the cylinder. Now you have to hold the back plate and the cylinder together so that the cylinder can't roll round. Push the ramming lever forward. Remove the pin, the cylinder pin. With the screwdriver, gently push the firing pin deep into the empty pocket and gently move the cylinder to the right hand side, and the whole assembly will come out. When removing the cylinder, as we said, we depress the pin in and gently slide the cylinder and back plate out. You have to ensure that you capture the firing pin. You can see the firing pin just beginning to emerge from the frame at this point in time. Use your thumb to stop the spring jettisoning the firing pin. If you allow this to spring out, it will bounce across the floor and you may have difficulty finding it. With the cylinder and back plate, firing pin and spring clear of the revolver, it's a simple case of pulling the parts apart, and you can see all the components: the cylinder, firing pin, spring, back plate and the gate. The cleaning of these is essentially a case of wiping thoroughly with a kitchen roll or a clean dry cloth, ensuring that all the dust, the residue of combustion from the nitro powder is clear. You don't need to put this in water. It's not recommended that you wash it in soapy water the way you might with black powder. Similarly with the cylinder, you can wipe the face of the chamber, the rear, give it as good a clean as you feel is necessary. Now this is where the toothbrush comes in, because I find this quite a handy tool to scrub around the pockets and the face of the cylinder. Again, similarly with the toothbrush, you can go around the frame and clean any residue of combustion that you may see or what comes to your attention. The cleaning of the cylinder, what I have done is I made this handle up with a smaller 0.38 wire brush, bronze brush in the end, which enables me to clean deep into the pockets where the powder is actually housed when the gun is loaded. Simple matter of going around all the pockets, and as you can see, very little residue actually is left. I have a larger brush here which I'll use in conjunction with the cleaning rod just to give me some leverage, and I can clean the outer portion of the chamber, the part that the ball would actually be seated into. The drill that I mentioned earlier is a 6mm drill, and what I use this for is to clean the pockets, and basically it's a case of dislodging any powder that may have stuck to the side of the pocket. You're not trying to cut the metal, purely with thumb and forefinger just rotate it gently within the pocket, and it will very easily dislodge any residue that's sticking to the sides of the pocket. As you can see, in this particular case, there's very little residue. That does vary from primer to primer, just how much rubbish is left. Some primers are very clean. I found that the current batch of CCI primers which I've been using are very clean indeed. But I generally give everything a cursory wipe. Again, no water, no solvents, no cleaners, just a wipe with a clean piece of kitchen roll. When it comes to the gun itself, I would wipe the cylinder pin, clean all the old oil. As you can see, it's, even though it has a gas ring fitted, and this minimises the amount of residue that actually finds its way to the cylinder pin. There still is a small amount that gets onto the pin itself. Next thing is to use the bore brush to just ensure you don't damage the muzzle using the plastic cap on the end. And all that's required is to draw this through 2-3 times, as many as required, until you're actually satisfied that the bore is relatively clear. Once I've used the bronze brush, I would then use a mop to just get a final dusting. And that basically is as far as you have to go to clean the revolver. Just make sure, it's nice just to ensure that all the little nooks and crannies that have powder are cleaned. The other brush that I haven't used here is a mop. It's from a 0.22 pistol cleaning kit, which I use to clean to the centre of the cylinder. That basically is everything relatively clean. I mean, you can go further and strip the revolver right down, but I don't find this is necessary. Possibly once a year to inspect the integrity of the components is all that's required. To reassemble the revolver, it's the opposite procedure from the dismantling. So what we have to do is a very sparingly put a very small drop of oil, very small, on the rear of the cylinder. This is the portion that comes into contact with the back plate. That slips over. Again, we have the spring and the firing pin, which slot. Oops. Now, this has got to be able to be pushed deep into the back plate. The firing pin has got to go in. Now, you can always know when you've lined up with an empty pocket is by looking at this portion of the cylinder here, that little cut out groove. If I remove the back plate, you'll see why this is. When the pocket was cut, a slight notch was cut out of the rear of the cylinder. Consequently, by lining this up, immediately in line with the firing pin, it will ensure that the firing pin can be pushed fully home into the pocket. Also, prior to refitting the cylinder, I sparingly put a small amount of oil on the cylinder pin, wipe any excess away. Here we have the firing pin sliding into the empty pocket, lined up with the notch cut in the rear of the cylinder. Now this is the tricky part. You have to hold the firing pin right in as far as it will go. Rotate the revolver around. Now one of the things that will foul up, I'll put this down so I can demonstrate this more clearly. One of the things that will prevent the cylinder going back in is the hand. I think you can just see that. The hand is coming through into the rear of the frame. When relocating the cylinder and back plate, I depress the firing pin with my right hand and hold the whole assembly as I'm showing to you now. As I insert the cylinder back in, with my left hand I push the hand back into the frame, and this enables the whole assembly to then slip back into place. You will hear a click as the firing pin relocates in the hammer notch area. The firing pin centralizes the back pressure plate. You then replace the cylinder pin, refit the loading latch, and your gun is ready.